Glenn. Welcome, come on in. So this is where I'm living at the moment. I can't say it's my house yet, so I just want to give a shout out to the original builders and the previous owners, because most of what I'm going to show you today I totally owe to them. Yeah, I don't know, where do we start? The kitchen, the heart of the house. We've got a gas cooker, which is great, I don't know. Dishes is the usual thing. I think the cabinetry in here was largely done by another member on the co-op. So it's it's a gorgeous timber kitchen and a nice little connection, I guess, that, you know, is done by Mark up the hill. In here is our living space. All this part of the house is double glazed, so it's really comfy. We've got the fire here, which obviously goes for most of winter, but yeah, really holds the heat beautifully. It's poured earth construction all around the outside, and like I say, double glazed, and then passive solar design, I guess. In this part in particular, I don't know all the techie words, but I just know that it works. So this little dining room space was built so that it allows the winter sun, so we're facing north now, so the winter sun is low enough to kind of come in and warm the house, but then throughout summer, of course, the sun is higher, so we don't get it kind of flooding in here and cooking us. When it does warm up in the summer, I guess we've got windows on either side here, and as soon as they're open, it just creates a lovely cross breeze and kind of, you know, takes the edge off and makes it all comfy. Yeah, and we go. The fire is obviously heating for the house. It's also connected to the hot water, so during winter, that's how we get majority of our, you know, shower and washing and all that sort of thing. And come this way. We'll keep the warmth in. We're off grid up here on the mountain, obviously, every house is. So again, I don't know all the specs, but we've got a solar system, I think it's 2 or 3 kilowatts. But the thing that I do know is the amount of socks. So we look at how many pairs of socks we've got each day, which the SOC is the state of charge. I know that one. That's about all I know on there. So we're on 90 pairs of socks today, which is good. Means we can do the washing and the vacuuming and whatever else. And I've also got a little light here because the sun isn't shining today that lets us know that the cluster generator is on. So that's the micro hydro up the hill that's, you know, gravity fed for the water and just trickle feeds all our batteries, which is a nice little addition. Through here, I love that my laundry is in the middle of the house. I don't know why, I just think that's a clever use of space, not to have a whole nother room for that stuff. This is my space in here. The view of the birds eating and, you know, just office work, whatever needs to be done, spare room at a pinch. So yeah, this is my trade-off because Clarkys got the shed, so this is my bit. Through here, toilet and bathroom, which are pretty standard, obviously, except they got pretty skylights, which is worth the look, I think. I don't know if you can look up there, but yeah. And then we get the matching or the twin one in here. So we've moved down the end of the house now. It's a bit cooler down here. We're not double glazed, and we've got gas heating down here in both of these rooms. But yeah, we don't use it too much, to be honest. We do most of our living down there. This is Toby's room. Say hello, Toby. And yeah, again, this is one of those nifty things that has come along the way from the previous builders and owners that this is a bedroom. But Glenn, where's the bed? You might have to stand over this way or you'll get clobbered. Oh. Oh yeah. So what this means is there's loads of room for Lego, isn't there? There's always room for Lego. Cool. So one bedroom downstairs. We've got ours upstairs too if you want to brave our stairs. So I think this was an addition done after the house was built originally, and it's a really welcome one. Again, we're up here, we've got double glazing, and the flue also comes up through here, so this is warm as toast. In the middle of the winter sometimes we all end up here. So yeah, it's looking a bit more showroom than floor-drobe today, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, and then we've got, wildly beautiful triangle windows, and on a clear day, a view to the city. But not today. Well, that's about it. I think we've got another gas heater up here, which is pretty decadent. But yeah, we don't have much cause to use it at this stage because it's just holds the heat really well. Yeah, and view to outside, I think that would be the next place to go. So we call that the cricket pitch. Long and green, and I'm not sure if you can see it from there, Glenn, but the cage garden, but we might head out there anyway. Yep. On the roof space, I don't know. The storage is good, isn't it? Women love storage. This is the rest of the house. This is the functional part, I guess. Yeah. This is our hot water service. That's heated, as I said, from the fire, but also from I think it's an evacuated solar system on the roof, so it just heats up in the pipes in the sunshine there. Yeah, and when we don't have the fire on, it's usually change of seasons, I've noticed. So when the fire isn't going and there isn't quite so much sunshine, we can actually flip the hot water onto gas, which is pretty lush. And have a long and hot bath whenever we want. So yeah, storage and general dumping ground. And yeah, that's us. Where should we go?
The veggie garden?
Yeah, up around the back. Yep. So this is actually, before we go there, I want to show you my favourite place of the house because I'm a cold body. This is our woodshed. Dear to my heart. It's it's looking a little bit empty at this stage. We've just cleared through these two bays, and I've got to say, this winter we went through 1, 2, 3, 4 bays of wood. That speaks to how warm I like to be and how much we learn to love, processing firewood living up here. A little generator lives in here as well. A little Honda just to top up during the winter. Yeah, works well, and it's kind of, I don't know, a little bit less noise pollution for the rest of the cluster being buried deep in here amongst the wood, so that's pretty good. We've got a beautiful garden here. You'll be seeing little snippets of colour that have survived the rain and the hail and the wind and whatnot. Again, shout out to previous owners and gardeners here. I'm doing my best to maintain. We're heading up the top of the garden to go to the micro hydro shed. So in this little shed over here, there's a micro hydro water generator that is fed from the spring dam further up the hill from us. It's gravity fed down here, runs through the generator, and it's connected to each of the 5 houses in the cluster. So it kind of trickle feeds through the winter when we don't get any sun and we have 3 or 4 days of rain in a row. It just goes constantly and yeah, just tops up our batteries. Again, you're getting the untechy version, but yeah, my understanding is it's like a heap of magnets set in a circle, and as the water comes through, they spin around, and it's that movement that generates the electricity. Yeah, it comes in and goes out, and it's fed back down into another dam just below us, down the hill here. Inverter and all that business there. Again, like I say, it trickle feeds into our batteries and just keeps us all going over winter. Most of the passive solar in this house. This is the north-facing view, so north is behind me here. And yeah, the eaves, I guess, on the top of this little window, dining room window here, are high enough so that the winter sun comes in, but low enough so that the summer sun as it goes over doesn't catch all that heat. So it's really lovely to sit in there in the winter time when the sunshine is out and just warm your back. Right. I wanted that for I missed the red light. All right. So this is our greenhouse up the hill. Come in this way. It's a, I don't know, this level of gardening I guess is still pretty new to me. It's not something, something I did as a child with family, but not so much as an adult. It's a much shorter growing season up here on the mountain, so just trying to find our way with that, and with a greenhouse like this, which is amazing, and got its we've got a dripper system on a timer in here as well, which is great. So it kind of, grows itself and come up and, take what we need. It's great. Ooh. And it's very slippery times underfoot. No one's gone over yet, so careful on your way out. Sara. I've been living up here for about 12 months. I moved up here with my husband Clarky and our son Toby. It's a place to be. We chose to move up here for a couple of different reasons. We were feeling like a pretty nuclear family, just husband and wife and single child, only child. We've had, a lot of our family live interstate, so it was just a sense of wanting something more, I think, rather than just being in our, suburban backyard kind of thing, regular house. Part of it was, so having more people for Toby to bounce off and other children around, which has worked out really well. It's close with a couple up here. Also, what else? Living on moorland in the valley, it's getting expensive, to be honest, and we always had something that we wanted to live on land and get a few animals and, take that path. So this is a way that we can do that still in our community. We didn't move far, we just came up from the valley, up the top of the mountain, so kind of knew what we were in for. Yeah, I think that's the most part of it. I guess the other thing is living in the Yarra Valley. It's cold for a lot of the year in Melbourne, this part of Melbourne, and we were in your regular, 1940s fibro cement, 3-bedroom house, and each winter we would be sitting about this far from the fire, and Clarky and I would be discussing again, going, Moramora, we really should take the next step and go and visit there and see what it is, and found it would come every winter. So yeah, just before we went into the pandemic, we went, right, let's walk our talk. We became friends of Moramora at the end of 2019. And started getting to know the people up here and going through that process, and then lockdowns came in early 2020. So I think it was a longer process because of that. It was a bit more drawn out, and all of us learning on our feet, and learning how to mute ourselves on Zoom to participate. But yeah, it was good. We were fortunate in that we didn't have a timeline really that we had to be out of somewhere and in somewhere else. So when we first became friends, we were a bit impatient and like, okay, we'll get up here by this time and so on. The pandemic changed all that. And I think it was a better process for us to come in having that more extended period of time, even though a lot of it was online. I think we haven't experienced the breadth of the socials that usually goes on up here, because we've been up here a year now, so we've gone through another lockdown while living up here. So I'm still I'm feeling my way into that. I'm looking forward to seeing how more and more really kind of comes alive socially. But it's been welcoming nonetheless, pandemic and all. And it feels, I guess, living in Warby still through the first lockdowns really galvanised we don't want to be stuck in our little house if we're going to go through this. We want the land and the people around us. So yeah, made that decision easier or stronger in us, I guess. So I am convener of the membership committee up here at the Moramora Co-op. So we're a little group that meet monthly and kind of make sure new members coming in are well held and know the process. So process is you come up for a tour, usually, restrictions permitting at the moment, but come and join us for a tour and have a walk around and meet a few people and see a few houses. And then you have the opportunity, you pay $200 as a friend's loan. So it's just a little bit to go, I want to take this next step. You can be a friend at Moramora for a minimum of 3 months, but as long as you like. And in that time, the invitation is to really step in, to come to our work days, which is once a month, to come to directors' meetings, to come to all the social events and so on that are happening. Get to know as many members as you can and allow the members to get to know you. During that time of friendship is often the time that you do find the house that you want to live in, meet in with the owner and organise that rental. So the next step in that is non-member residency. So you meet all the other people in the cluster, in that group of houses. The community at large, the members of the community say, yep, we'd like to invite this person to move up here for 12 months and try it and see how the fit is. So renting for 12 months really enables that, and that was huge in our process of, we could go to all the meetings, Zoom meetings during, as we could during the pandemic when we came in, but actually living here we kind of went, oh, okay, so how that works. And you just get you get to experience how it actually functions, what the commitments are, and deepen into the friendships and so on with the other people around. So 12 months, we've been here 12 months now. So once you've been a non-member resident for 12 months, you get to make that decision to go, yep, I'd like to become a member, or no, this is not for me. So if it's not for you, it's been great, and you move off the mountain. And if you want to be a member, then there's another process you enter into or continue with, I guess, of, again, getting getting the community on board, I guess, that everyone would invite you to stay up here, and lining up the purchase of a house, and then buy shares. You buy shares in the property and purchase the house separately, and I don't know, live happily ever after. We'll see. So there are certainly financial considerations when becoming a member at Mora Mora. I mentioned the Friends loan is sort of $200, and then as you move into membership, maybe 12 months later, you buy shares in the land. So we're coming in as a couple, we're buying a full share each, I guess, a full parcel of shares each, which equates to about $40,000 at the moment. If you're coming in as a single, you actually buy 1.5 parcels of shares, which is around $30,000. And I guess the other thing that often comes up in the discussion about financials is just that we're a little bit further up the hill, so there's something to think about is extra costs of driving if you are heading off the mountain every day and that sort of thing. But otherwise, we're on solar, so we're not paying utilities as we are, so yeah, it feels balanced. So you become a member and you want to buy a house here. I guess it's important to know that the houses up here don't run with market value. So you might pay anything. There's a huge range of different houses up here. You might pay anything from 60 or 80,000 up to about 300,000, and yeah, huge variety. Like I say, some of them are owner built with recycled materials in the 70s, and some of them have come along, way later. And yeah, so further to cost of living and that sort of thing up here. Each house does pay council rates, so we're still subject to that. And as I said, you kind of factor in the fact of how much you drive up and down the mountain, what that'll cost you in petrol and so on. Yeah, but like I say, I said before, there is that balance in it that, things that we used to spend money on down in the valley, with gas and electricity and all that sort of thing, we don't have those expenses up here, so we're finding, it's equal, I guess, or probably even less expensive being up here for us currently. But that said, I don't drive off the mountain every day either. It would be, so at Mora Mora here we have, the houses are built in separate clusters. So I think there's 5 or 6, I'd have to do, I think there's about 5 with about 4 to 6 houses on each. There's 6 clusters with about 4 to 6 houses on each. We are in Forest Edge cluster now, which is, feels like home to us. And I guess, what's the reason? So I understand the reason about kind of making these clusters, and they're a fair distance apart, some of them. Maybe kind of a kilometre, is it, across the top of the mountain? They're kind of spread out in different, some of them we're on the edge of the mountain, some of them are quite treed, and some of them are kind of in the open land up near the more agricultural area of the property. They've all got their own flavour, I think. We're probably pretty quiet down here at Forest Edge, and there's others that are, a bit more social and out there, which is great. It's nice to visit and it's nice to leave. So yeah, when you come in, I guess you find where you land and find where your people are in that. And I understand, and I hope I get this right, but in the inception of this community, there was, this idea of living intentionally together, but there was thought put into the cluster system and separating them out this way, in that, if people did become unhappy and there was issues, that it wouldn't be community-wide, that it would just, that it might be uncomfortable or a bit icky in a cluster for a while, but it almost wouldn't go through the whole place. You could step out of that if you still needed to, and I think that's really, really beneficial for this sort of space. It feels like a good plan, that we don't all have to be swept up in the bad stuff, but also in the parties or the good stuff too. So some clusters have a shared pool of money, I guess, that you pay into weekly or monthly. There's a small fee. And I think Forest Edge has one too, but as non-member residents, we don't need to contribute to that as yet. So I think once we become members in the next month or so, we'll find out just what that is. I think it's about $20 or so a month. And, for our cluster, I think largely that goes on maintenance of roads because we're a little bit further down the hill. So there's a bit more infrastructure there for us to take care of. And we also have a micro hydro generator, so that all 5 houses in this cluster are connected into. Just the running costs and maintenance of that. If people don't get on with each other in a cluster, I'm fortunate enough not to have that experience as yet. I guess I can speak to that for how I might approach it. There's benefit in, we are all in separate houses in these clusters. We're not all living in one big house together. So there's enough space there to step away as I need to or when I need to. But I guess, and part of the reason, of coming up here and entering into this is the desire to be in a relational space with more than just, us three and our nuclear family. So I think the ask, in the commitment that I've made in living here would be to lean into that and, do what repair I can or just find that way to coexist within the same cluster quite civilly and functionally without tearing into each other each time we see each other or... So work for me, I work off the mountain between 2 and 4 days a week at the moment, down at a local school. Very regular, I guess. My husband is a carpenter, so he's off the mountain most days as well. He's still working full time. Just like anyone else, I guess. I think the something that I've got to this year with that is just finding that balance. Clarky can do 5 days off the mountain. I wouldn't want to leave that often. It's nice to stay here for a day or two in a row where you don't actually have to go to work or interrupt that, so you can spend the time that's needed here. Our son Toby's 12. And it's great to see him up here. We're good friends where we moved from as well, who all lived in the street and ran amok during lockdown. So this is a new group of friends, I guess, doing a similar thing. I think what I like is rain, hail or shine, he's outside and in the bush somewhere, every other day. We're on the side of a mountain and he's into mountain biking, or we're on top actually, so he spends a lot of his time riding down the mountain, which is pretty cool. And just, like I say, having more people to bounce off, I think is, you get to rub the edges off a little bit like you would with siblings, I think. So it's nice to see that growth in him. The weather here is awesome. It's not Queensland, that's for sure. It's cold, sometimes it's freezing, but I live in a well-built house that is built for that kind of climate, which I'm really enjoying. And the thing that gets me, because it's just so changeable, really. I mean, we've got this great picture window behind us, and even when it's absolutely miserable, it's just wild, it's dramatic, something else will happen. We had hail going in 2 different directions this afternoon, which I love. And again, because it is so wild, and it's probably 8 months of the year, 9 months of the year that you can have this cold and wet and whatever. But I think that helps me step outside anyway. You can't kind of wait for the next fine day to go and do what you've got to do. You just got to get rugged up and get out there and do it. So that's I really appreciate that. We have loads of wildlife here. We've got, I'm watching the parrots that we feed in the bird feeders just behind the camera here. And yeah, out this window we are treated with wombats and loads of rabbits, bless them. Lyrebirds. I was looking at a couple of weeks ago, watching a lyrebird actually climb a tree. It kind of looked like a monkey the way it went up, which was yeah, it's great. They just kind of come and fly through all the time. We've had a group of wallabies kind of go down over the lawn here and then into the dam below and swim across it. And I've had deer come through that way as well. So yeah, you kind of, don't know exactly, don't know what you'll see when you look up, but it's not at all surprising to see something else cruising across the lawn. So because of all the wildlife we've got, cats and dogs are a no-no. You can't own one while you live up here, which is a bit of a wrench, but I guess the more time I spend up here, it's a pretty good sacrifice for what we're treated with each day. So if you're interested to get more involved in Mora, then we really welcome that. You can jump on the website and go to the membership page and send us through a contact via that way, and then we'll be in touch with you, let you know what's going on. And advice for new members, I guess, yeah, the important thing is, coming in open mind and open heart, I think, and we would hope that you'd be met with that as well. Getting to know as many members as you can in that way, and being prepared to spend the time and energy here. It's there's a level of commitment, obviously, and there's a level of physical work involved. We're on 600 acres, so you gotta love the outdoors and just getting stuck in.